So you're welcome to this pre-algebra class, which is very very essential in the sense that in this time around we'll be looking for how to convert the decimals back to fractions. So in the previous class we were looking at how to convert fractions to decimals, but here we're looking at the other way around. Now it's very very it's very very simple. It's a very simple process. It's just about playing a little bit of trick, and then you already have your answer, right? So here we we basically can follow two approaches. I mean, the two approaches are basically the same, but but then we will look at it, together. So an example in this class that we take 0.25. So we're trying to convert 0.25 from a decimal to a fraction. Now, to do this, one of the first steps, I could call this first step, the first version of it. So basically, you could see this number as you're trying to make this number whole. Now you ask yourself this question, like basically anything multiplied by one is giving you the same thing, right? And then, but then you want to make the number become a whole. Now, so basically, you ask yourself, what will make this number become a whole? And then you discover, like, okay, so if you want to, make this number a whole, you can basically multiply by 100, right? So if you multiply by 100, you make the number a whole. However, we are not allowed to just multiply by 100, so we must multiply by 100 and also divide by 100 because we're trying to get back to 1. So here is basically getting back to 1 because, hey, we cannot introduce something that wasn't part of the question. However, we know that 100 divided by 100 is going to give you 1. So the idea is to first find what is the number that will make your decimal a whole number. And when you get this number, you divide it, you multiply and divide this number by itself. So this is the case. Now, what happens is when you go ahead and then you multiply this number, you see like you get 25 over 100, right? And this is good enough for the answer, but then we want to get it to the lowest form. So we could basically divide the numerator and then the denominator, we could basically split it to its factors. So what are the factors of 25? Then the factors of 25 is 5 times 5. And what are the factors of 100? We have 2 times 2 times 5 times 5. And this basically means that we could basically cancel 5 from 5 and 5 from 5. And then here we're left with 2 times 2, which is 1 all over 4, because 2 times 2 gives you the 4, right? So here is, one of the steps that you could use to get your fractions converted from decimals. And then you could use another option. Another option will be like 0.25. And then that 0.25, you're basically trying to play a little bit of game, right? So here you put 1 below the dot, basically the dot, and you put 1 here. And then you try to make this decimal part a whole number by moving the dots. So basically you move the dot 1, and then you move the dot twice. And then, so basically you had to move the dot twice. So basically you have 1, 2. So you introduce the number of zeros that corresponds with the number of times you had to move the dot. So here you are left with 25 all over 100. And from this part of our calculation, we could conclude that this is equal to 1 all over 4. So this is a case, right? And then we could go to another example, another good example. We could say like 3.75 is another good example, right? We're trying to convert 3.75 to a decimal. So here, to a fraction, basically. So here we could use the first step where we say 3.75 multiplied by 1, we know is 3.75. And then we're trying to see what can we make multiply to make 3.75 a whole number. And then we know that if we were to multiply it by 100, then we will get a whole number. And then we have 375 over 100. Now in this case, we're trying to break down the to the lowest form, right? And so here, one of the good things we could basically see here is we could see like, there's a very good chance that the top is, the numerator is divided by 25. Now, I wouldn't want to go into how we basically can easily see this type of cases, but maybe in a future video, this will be very possible, definitely. So here now we see that, it's possible to divide 25 from the numerator and then the denominator, and so we divide. So from the numerator, when we divide 25, what we get, what we get when we divide 25 is 25 in this. You have 1, and then you're stuck with 125, and then that is giving you 5, right? And then you have 25 divided by 100. 100 divided by 25. So here we're dividing 25, we get 4. Here we divide 25, we get 15, so it's 4. And then here we have 15 over 4. And then we could use the idea that we also derived from, this is now, taking an improper fraction. This is good enough to be our answer, but at times we just like to leave it in a proper fraction. And so this takes a proper fraction, improper fraction, model. So at times we just try to convert it, right? So here we just divide 15 by 4 and we get 3. And then we have 12, so basically 3 minus 4. So we could also use the previous video to basically jump to our conclusion. So basically, at the end of the video, this is like a way to convert like this decimal to fractions. If you know any other way, you could basically write it in the comments. But ultimately, this is a very, very simple way that makes it very easy. See you on the next one.